You want to know the truth? It's not the way she looks. It's not the clothes she wears. It's not even the words she says. The one thing a man cannot resist is a woman who teaches the world how to treat her. A woman who teaches the world how to treat her doesn't do it with noise. She does it with presence. You feel her before she speaks. You notice her before she enters the room. There's no arrogance, no performance, just a quiet certainty that she knows who she is and what she will not accept. That certainty is magnetic. It doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It simply is. And when a man meets that kind of woman, he is confronted with a choice: rise up or fall back. This kind of woman doesn't beg for decency. She lives as if it's the bare minimum, because it is. She doesn't explain why she deserves to be treated well, and she doesn't waste her breath justifying her needs. She doesn't shrink to make him more comfortable. She doesn't twist herself into silence to avoid conflict. Her boundaries are not walls, they are doors. And they only open to those who are willing to knock with respect, patience, and readiness. She doesn't confuse attention with affection. She doesn't mistake attraction for devotion. She knows the difference because she's done the work to know herself. You can't teach someone how to respect you if you don't first believe you are worthy of it. That's the root. That's the fire under everything. A woman who has done the soul work, who has faced her wounds, who has met her shadow, who has buried parts of herself just to resurrect them stronger. That woman walks differently. She speaks differently. She carries her standards like sacred vows, not rules to be debated. She doesn't apologize for them. She doesn't bend them to keep someone. She lives them fiercely and fully because they are the foundation of her peace. And when a meets her, he either feels inspired or intimidated. There is no in-between. And that reaction has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with him. A man who is grounded, who has done his own inner work, will see her strength and feel safe inside it. He won't try to control her light. He won't flinch at her truth. He'll honor her clarity because he recognizes the cost of becoming that clear. But a man who's still trying to earn his worth through control, approval, or ego. And that's when she teaches her most important lesson. I will not lower myself to be understood by someone unwilling to grow. This woman doesn't lead with ultimatums. She leads with example. She doesn't threaten to walk away. She simply will if she's not being met. And not out of spite, not out of coldness, but out of reverence for herself. Her love is not conditional, but her access is. That's the difference between emotional maturity and emotional martyrdom. She doesn't stay where she's dismissed. She doesn't cling to potential. Doesn't confuse someone needing her with someone valuing her. She's not addicted to being chosen. She's loyal to her truth, even when it's lonely, even when it's hard, even when it means walking someone she once prayed would stay. Because in the end, she knows this. You don't attract what you believe you deserve. And she believes in her bones that she deserves a love rooted in truth and honor, in depth. A love that doesn't require her to shrink, explain, or negotiate her worth. That belief shapes everything. How she walks, who she allows close, what she tolerates, and what she lets go. She's not teaching him with lectures. She's teaching him with her life. And the man who's truly ready for her, he'll pay attention, not just to her words, but to the way she moves through the world like she belongs in it. Because she does. A woman who refuses to settle for half love has already lived through the ache of almost. She knows what it feels like to be halfway held, halfway seen, halfway chosen, and she's not interested in that kind of emptiness dressed as connection. She's done letting her heart starve in relationships that only feed her in crumbs. She's not impressed by chemistry if it comes without consistency. She's not seduced by sweet words if they're not followed by solid action. What she's looking for isn't loud or flashy. It's stable, grounded, safe. And she won't apologize for wanting something real. She doesn't pretend not to notice when something feels off. She doesn't gaslight herself into staying just to keep the peace. She's no longer addicted to being the understanding one may, while her needs rot in the background. She speaks up. She says what she feels. She lays it on the table, not to cause conflict, but because truth is the only currency she deals in now. If love can't hold space for her truth, then it's not love. It's performance. She's not here to perform anymore. She's here to be known. The woman who refuses half love has learned one of life's hardest lessons. It's better to be alone in your truth than partnered in your pretending. She's unlearning all the stories that told her she had to settle for less to be loved at all. She's rewriting the narrative that said a man's inability to love her fully was somehow her failure. She knows now that was never hers to carry. Real love doesn't make you question your worth. Real love reminds you of it. And if she's not getting that, she's not staying. She doesn't stay in rooms where she's only tolerated. She leaves them, even if her heart breaks in the process, because her loyalty is no longer tied to potential. It's tied to reality. She no longer believes that loving someone hard enough will make them ready. She knows readiness is a choice, and if someone's not choosing to rise, she's not dragging them. That's not love. That's self-abandonment. And she's done with that. She knows her love is sacred, and she's no longer giving it to people who treat it like it's optional. When you've lived through half love, you develop a kind of clarity that changes everything. You become fluent in energy. You feel the difference between effort and obligation. You sense when someone is showing up because they want to, and when they're just doing the bare minimum to keep you around. And once you know that difference, you can't unknow it. You stop explaining your standards. You stop apologizing for your depth. You stop being low maintenance just to feel like less of a burden. You start standing in your truth, even if it means standing alone. Because nothing is lonelier than being with someone who doesn't see you. She's not cold. She's not bitter. She's clear on what she needs, clear on what she deserves, clear on what she will never again accept. She understands that love without effort is manipulation. That affection without consistency is confusion. That attention without emotional safety is chaos. And she's not here to build a life out of chaos. She's here to build a love that holds her fully. So if he's not showing up with the energy she brings, she's not fighting to keep him. She's choosing herself every time because she finally knows half love isn't love. And she refuses to live her life pretending otherwise. There comes a moment when a woman realizes silence is a statement. Not passive, not weak, powerful. She doesn't scream. She doesn't try to convince someone to value what they refuse to see. When her love is taken for granted, when her presence is no longer cherished, when her truth is consistently ignored, she stops explaining. She recognizes that trying to teach someone who refuses to listen isn't strength. It's self-betrayal. And she's done betraying herself to maintain someone else's comfort. She has learned that walking away is not failure. It's wisdom. He feels the difference between a woman who needs love and one who chooses it. From overflow, not from emptiness. She's deeply intuitive. She reads between the lines. She catches the unspoken. She feels your energy before you speak. She sees through charm. She sees through performance. What she's drawn to now is integrity, emotional maturity, self-awareness. And when she finds that, when she feels that safe, grounded presence, she doesn't just open up. She invites you in. And that invitation isn't to her body, it's to her world, her rhythm, her peace, her soul. That's the real access. That's what makes her unforgettable. She's not for everyone, and she knows that. She doesn't need to be. She's for the man who's done playing. Who's done hiding. Man who wants to build, not escape. A man who sees a woman like her and doesn't shrink. He expands, he rises, because he knows what he's been given is rare. A woman who doesn't just want love. She is love. Not the kind that bends over backward for approval, but the kind that sits fully in her worth and says, "This is who I am. Meet me here," or "Move aside." So, what makes her irresistible isn't just her beauty, her brilliance, or her softness. It's her becoming. The journey she walked through fire to claim her truth. The strength it took to choose herself in a world that kept asking her to settle. She is not for the man who wants easy. She is for the man who wants real. A woman like this cannot be possessed, only partnered with. Not conquered, only honored, because she doesn't need you to complete her story. She is the story. And if you can't meet her in that truth, you will watch her walk away, and you will never forget what it felt like to stand in her presence. She doesn't chase. She blesses. And though once you've experienced the kind of woman who knows her worth, who speaks her heart with fire and grace, who leads herself with soul and sovereignty, every other version of love will feel like a whisper next to her. Thunder. That's the woman no man can resist. Not because she asks for attention, but because she commands it without ever needing to.